So we're back at the warehouse, and with the Land Cruiser down. The 60 has been leaking, I guess, clutch fluid or hydraulic fluid from the slave cylinder, and I was trying to move it the other day, and the clutch just had nothing, and I was like, whoa, what's going on? So I looked underneath, and well, first I checked the fluid, and it was just completely drained. So I looked underneath, and the slave cylinder was, that's where it was leaking out from. So we're gonna go ahead and get that fixed today. So here are the parts that we're going to be replacing, which is the slave cylinder, the hose that goes to the slave cylinder to the hard lines, and then the master cylinder. So I went ahead and just thought I'd replace everything, might as well. If one thing is going, it's pretty soon that the master will start leaking as well, and might as well just get the whole new clutch line placed, so I won't have any issues. Hopefully I won't have any issues in the future. So I'm actually having to do a voiceover all the videos. I had a issue with my GoPro, and I found out if anybody else has this issue, there was some sort of like clicking noise that happened that was like super annoying. And what the issue was is I had Wi-Fi on, and that was interfering with the mic. So with that said, I'll try to make this video as good as possible with the voiceover. So right now we're just trying to disconnect the hard line that goes to that hose that we're going to replace. It's just a little difficult. I guess it's just kind of rusted in place and corroded, so we're just struggling to get this off, but once we get that off, pretty much everything else is pretty straightforward. So we already got the slave cylinder in place. We also have the hose connected to the slave cylinder. Now we just need to connect the hose to the hard line. Meanwhile, Jack already got started on removing the hard line on the master cylinder, and I've already removed the pin that connects the master cylinder to the clutch. So pretty much we just got to unbolt a couple more bolts, and we'll be, I guess the master cylinder will be removed. As Jack spills brake fluid all over my engine bay as we remove the master cylinder, looking at it, it does look like it's been replaced before, not recently, but before. The seals do look like they're starting to leak a little bit. That's why I went ahead and just replaced everything on the clutch line. And if it does start leaking more, it just kind of leaks more into the inside on the firewall. And one thing that Jack mentioned is like brake fluid is like super corrosive, or not corrosive, but strip the paint. It's really not good for paint. Good thing he didn't get it on the paint job, otherwise he would just ended up having to paint it again, and it's just on the inside of the engine bay, which we may paint, but not too sure when that'll happen. So we're getting down to the last connection, and inevitably we run into a problem. I guess we had trouble getting the hard line off of the hose. It wasn't because it was rusted or anything. it was because of this problem. So as you can see here, I have a new, I guess, end fitting that goes in the hard line, and as you can see here, I guess the fitting was over tightened, and the tip of the fitting flared out, and it flared out so much that it was slightly bigger than the female connection of the hose end. So that's why it was difficult to completely remove it, and since we were kind of threading it out or unscrewing it, it was just felt like a cross-threaded connection. And so now that we're trying to reinsert it into the hose, and it's just, it's a little bit more difficult because the end is oversized, bigger than the female connection of the hose, and it's just, we really got to do is you kind of have to like force it in and thread it at the same time. So what we ended up doing to fix the problem was got a little file and just started filing, grinding down the oversized tip at the end of the fitting, just enough to get it threaded into the hose, which worked. If not, we're going to have to replace the entire hard line. So here's the slave cylinder in place. Everything's connected. We got the hose from the slave cylinder to the hard line installed, and we already got the we already got the master cylinder installed as well. So and then also the master cylinder is reconnected to the clutch. All that's left to do is fill the reservoir up with brake fluid and bleed the lines. So yeah, we got the line bled, and of course the clutch feels so much better, feels so much firm, and there's not so much play, and it shifts way better now. Or I guess the clutch is fully disengaging when I'm pressing on the clutch pedal. We did have to do a little bit of adjustment at the slave cylinder as well as at the master cylinder, but we got everything adjusted properly. I do plan to do an update video on the interior of the truck because I haven't done so, and I've done a lot on the interior, and I do have some plans for the seats of the truck, so I would like to show you that. But that's gonna be it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed, and we'll check you all later.